Hey guys, Moose here. We are back with some more Stonehearth. You may be able to tell my voice is a little bit better, and I'm feeling a little bit better. Saw the doctor today finally, and don't really know what's wrong with me, but we have a couple solutions we're trying. And if things persist, he's probably going to get me on, I don't think antibiotics, but some more hardcore over-the-counter, or not over-the-counter, prescription steroids to kind of open up my sinuses. But anyway, I'm hoping this isn't just a situation where, like last time, I'm feeling a little bit better, and as soon as I start talking, that changes. So I'm hoping not to be coughing too many times this episode. I do feel like I'm getting better, but I apologize if that does happen in advance. But, you know, hopefully things are going to be back on track, and that should put us in good shape to have some nice new stuff ready for the weekend, Forest Village among them. I might try and do a little bit of Kenshi stuff, but Kenshi's honestly not quite as good for YouTube, so you should probably not expect that. More likely, I'm going to be working on FF14 content. I know 15 just came out, kind of like that. Karen's been playing it a lot. Thought about getting it, but I couldn't really justify a $60 expenditure, especially when I can just mooch off Karen and play her copy. Which is definitely going to be what I do. How many people do we have in our military? I should check that real quick. 10 people, okay. I want to promote someone else, but we'll probably focus on getting more people for now. But yeah, so kinda, you know, getting better bit by bit, but not totally there yet. Hopefully I am going to be, where is it? Is this it? Why do I kill? Is this not going away now? There we go. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, I was trying to figure out what I was doing wrong there. Clearly not really all here at the moment. It's okay, I'm getting there. But, yeah, I mean, as soon as I'm better, I'm hoping there's a lot of good new stuff I can bring to the not just YouTube channel here, but also the stream, hopefully, if I can get that rolling in a consistent way. That's something I've been looking to do for quite a while now. You know what? This should loop around, actually. So we'll come out here, connect down here. So among those is you know, I don't think I'm perfect at perfect host or streamer or YouTuber. So there's things I want to do, obviously, to kind of work on it and get better. So one of those, I kind of fucked this up, didn't I? Is there a door there? Whatever. That's okay. So I'm trying to work on my style, kind of, I guess, is a way of putting it. This will be like that, and then this will connect here. That's the way to do it. It doesn't look pretty, but it's better than it could have been. Okay, here we go. Where's the door? Oh, there is no door. Okay, well, in that case, I'm gonna get rid of this. So, I'm trying to think of, like, alright, well, what kind of style of, YouTuber do I want to be? Like, what do I want to do? Yeah, well, if you'd let me build this damn thing, I could... Please? There we go. Just wasn't showing up before, that's fine. Daily update. Oh, I got a new person, finally. Thanks to building that road. So we're going to keep working on building. Net worth is kind of our main issue right now, so we'll work at it. And we're also going to work at still getting rid of the crap in here, which is taking way too long. But yeah, so I've been thinking about, you know, what's the right way, what kind of YouTube channel do I want to have? Like, what kind of content do I really want to have? And sometimes it's about the game, and I know who I am. I don't want to be someone other than I am. So that's easy. You know, basically saying, all right, well, I'm not gonna be one of those over the top jerk-offs that's like jumping at horror games and shit. I don't really like horror games in the first place, so I'm not gonna play them because it's just at that point, this isn't my day job. So at that point, I'm defeating the entire purpose of even doing this to begin with, which is a little bit therapeutic for me, but also like I don't think there are enough streamers like me. And by that, I mean sort of Look, this is gonna sound like I'm up my own ass and think I'm hot shit or something. That's not it at all. The bar that I'm setting here is extremely low. And there are people who are far better at it than me, which is why I'm trying to improve myself. I should be on speed 3 here. But basically just honest people who are just kind of having fun. Like, I'm not... For me, that's like I watch Northern Lion or Rockley Smile, Nick, or Last Grey Wolf or Austin. Those guys, the NLSS crew, Bear Taffy's in there too. And the thing about them is they're all a little bit different. They have their own styles and things they like, things they enjoy. But ultimately, the main thing that kind of makes them all very similar is that they're just kind of honest people. They're not lying. They're not coming out trying to be someone they're not. You know, they play characters and they play their roles a little bit, but ultimately it's mostly just them. And they don't fake enthusiasm for stuff generally. I mean, they may do that to a degree if they're like, okay, well, I feel like shit today, but I gotta do my job. And, you know, that's fine. I'm not gonna judge anyone for doing that. I'm more talking about like, wow, this game is horrible, but they're paying me to sell it, so I'm gonna sell it. That's what bothers me. And shit like that, like the thumbnail, like thumbnails with your face on it. And Mathis is, of course, one of the guys in that crew that I like and watch, but he kind of strays on the wrong side of what I'm interested in sometimes. And that, you know, that's nothing against him. That's just not to my tastes, which is not... he doesn't exist for me. Like, he exists for his audience, and I'm part of his audience, but there's a hell of a lot more people than me in his audience, so there's no way I can sit here and be like, well, Mathis needs to do things the way I think he needs to do things, because it's all about me. It's not all about me. It never is, which is the way it should be. I should always, for the most part, just be a face in the crowd. Everyone should normally just be a face in the crowd. Things can go very, very wrong when they're not, and that's, you know, people who get influence and start abusing it, that's what really bothers me. Anyway, I'm going to get this video off with the first cough here, so just give me a moment. Didn't 100% need that, but I felt it creeping in. I didn't want to risk having it be involuntary at the wrong moment, so I figured I'd just cough. But yeah, so I'm trying to think about what my style is and who I want to be. It's fun, you know? It's an interesting thing. Public speaking is a very interesting skill. I took a course on it in college, and it was an elective thing. It wasn't very serious. I'm going to try and design a building here while we talk. So it's not, you know, I'm not like, oh, I know what I'm doing because I took a class in college. No, that's bullshit. I don't know what I'm doing. I just spent like however long explaining that I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm not shy about admitting that. That's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with not knowing what you're doing. Let's figure this out. Yep. So, you know, it's just, but it's something that interests me, even though I don't know what I'm doing. I think it's really interesting to kind of think about, well, what goes into being a good public speaker. And I think, like, well, you know, one interesting thing just talking about the guys that I watch is, you know, well, why is Northern Lion more popular than all those other guys? What makes him better? What makes him more attractive to prospective viewers? And I think a lot of it is his content is... Some of the guys are mainly, they're Twitch guys, so they're like mostly about talking to chat. And that's valid. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it's also very... It doesn't really leave any room for you as a streamer. I mean, it does to a degree, but at the end of the day, you're a product. You kind of create your chat, and then your chat kind of creates you. And that may sound kind of weird, but I don't know. That's how I see it. I think it's not as much about your personality necessarily, other than what you force. So I'm not as interested in that. Like, that's kind of boring to me. I'm more interested in, like, well, this is what happens when they're on their own in a video. And from that perspective, like, Northern Lion is just straight up better. He just is. Like, it's not to shit on any of the other guys, but they're not as good as NL. And it's very simple. It's not hard to tell why. NL is Garden Lantern, Wall Lantern. You know what? Maybe I use the fine ones here. Pop a couple on there. They're just not as good as NL. And there's nothing, that's not a knock on them. It's just NL happens to be better. And I don't think that means that they're bad or anything. It just means NL is quite good. And he is. I think it's unreasonable to suggest that he isn't. And the reason for that is he's just a better commentator. And that's why he's more popular and winds up in all those situations. Like recently he was in a tournament. And it comes down to... excuse me, sorry, I got a cough. Very sorry about that. That one was kind of unavoidable. I'm going to tone it down on these. I think this is too many. But if you look at NL, like you look at his content, his Binding of Isaac videos are never about the game. And it kind of comes down to one thing he does in the NLSS sometimes, which is, if you don't know him, is like a 3-time weekly show he does with a bunch of other streamers. So it's kind of a, I think people have called it like a variety show. And the idea is they just, the games are not really the point, it's more about the interaction between the different streamers and just kind of having fun. You know what, I think I'm just going to build this as is and let them pop, I'll put the furniture in after the fact. I'm not so worried about the furniture. This is going to be the Weaver house, by the way. It's not, one of the things they used to do, it's a 3-hour show, they do 3 games, 1 hour each, barring any technical issues, which are common because they're not really playing big name games, they're more playing like indie stuff. But one of the games that they would play a lot was Binding of Isaac. Yeah, run away. So, sorry, I got a cough again, jeez, itch in my throat. Sorry about that. So, they'd play Binding of Isaac, and one of the things NL would always say was, hey, you know, don't talk about Isaac. You know, if anyone asks a question about Isaac, one of the other streamers is like, no, we don't talk about Isaac. So, it's funny, right? I mean, from the perspective of someone watching it, it's entertaining to see that. Like, he's chewing out the other commentator for talking about the game. Like, it's kind of silly, isn't it? But if you think about it more, it's actually, like, it's kind of interesting, because the game isn't the point. The game is only really there as background. Kind of like how right now I'm playing Stonehearth, and I'm definitely playing Stonehearth, but I'm not really talking about Stonehearth. And the point is more the commentary. So, his commentary is... doing group commentary is easy. That's not a problem, because you can always... Everyone is used to, you know, bouncing jokes off friends, you know... Some people are better at it than others. I'm not saying it's a simple skill that's just everyone's got it, no problem, but it's easier. Doing that solo, having an interesting conversation with yourself, is way harder, in my opinion. And that, I think, is why NL does better. Is because he's able to do that. And people call it charisma. They say, oh, he's charismatic, but I think that's actually selling him short. I think what he does is much harder than just being charismatic. I think what he does is a lot more skillful and something that he had to work at. It's a serious talent. I think it, from my perspective, at some point in his career, this is a horrible trade. Well, it's not a horrible trade, but it's not a trade that really there's any reason to do. At some point in his career as a YouTuber, I think he put some serious effort into studying something along the lines of stand-up comedy. You got attacked? What is this? I have no fucking idea what that means. That's Nirg Greylick Quest. I'm gonna assume that that was the NP, or the Hearthling that got attacked by the zombie or whatever. Alright, good, they're reacting quickly. I don't have to worry about it. Fantastic. So, at some point he had to have, based on what well, in my opinion, this is just me guessing, basically. I think he put in some serious effort to study, like, It's not really... I've tried, and it's a little tough because I'm not actually sure what I'm supposed to be looking at. It's not public speaking, really. It's not stand-up comedy, really. It's not really anything in particular. And actually, the interesting thing is it's the only thing that I found that's really kind of in line with what I believe it is writing, actually. It's not speaking at all. It's stream of consciousness writing. And a particular type of it. So I've been looking into that thinking, alright, well, how do I go about doing this? What does this actually entail, and what do I need to... Ooh, what the hell's going on here? How did you die? What the fuck was that? What are you doing? How did he get over there? It's just one idiot? Well, that's irritating. Alright, well, I mean, we're gonna get this guy back right away, so whatever. It's kind of stupid. Anyway, they'll get the saw. That was our carpenter, or one of our carpenters. That's a little annoying, but I guess maybe we don't need a second carpenter. Let's promote one anyway, just to be safe. Definitely irritating, but I kind of don't care. You're definitely going to be the person. Congratulations, you're a carpenter. But it's kind of... I think stream of consciousness writing is kind of what most relates to being a good commentator or streamer. Solo. And, you know, it's not as simple as that. It's more complex because you got to think, well, you got to tailor it to your audience. You're on the fly. You can't just talk about anything. But you almost kind of can, though, is the funny thing. So it's this very interesting situation. And, of course, if you're streaming, you're also worrying about, okay, well, I got to interact with chat. And there's a lot of user engagement stuff you need to do. And it's... I've been having a lot of fun kind of trying to research that and think about it and trying to think, all right, well, what makes sense for me based on my personality, who I am, what I enjoy doing, what's the play here? What do I need to do? Who do I need to be to do this correctly in a way that works for me and also works for the channel? And part of that, and this is kind of why I got into doing this in the first place, was it's personal growth. You know, learning how to do that, learning how to talk. You know, it sounds stupid, learning how to talk, but that's a serious thing. Like, a lot of people are really uncomfortable talking. Especially in a situation like this, where you're putting it online and, you know, getting judged. So, it seems trivial, but it's really not. It's a significant thing, and it actually, to do it correctly, and in a way that's meaningful, takes a great deal of skill, I feel. So that's kind of what I feel. I don't want to be Northern Line, just to be clear. It'd be nice to be as successful as him. I think he's a fantastic, especially without losing sight of my values, which are, you know, sponsored content for something that you don't actually think is good is kind of immoral on a certain level. Shilling for something that's, you know, is not a good product is not really something that I find to be acceptable. Personally, I understand people feel differently about that, and that's okay. The whole world should not share my opinion on any particular topic. That would make for a very boring reality. But I have my opinions, and I will stick to them. I don't want to be forced to change them in order to make a living. And that's the nice thing about doing this as a hobby rather than as a job. I really have the flexibility to be who I want to be, and not worry so much about, alright, well, what do I need to do to pay the bills this month? And believe me, there's plenty of that in my private life outside of YouTube, so it's not like I'm sitting here, oh, everything's easy, I can pay all the bills, no problem. Like, money is always an issue, but, you know, this isn't where I stress out over that. That happens elsewhere. So, trying to think about, alright, well, sorry, kind of lost my train of thought there. So what I was saying was I don't really want to be Northern Line, but being able to emulate some of the things he does well within the context of who I am as a person, and I have vastly different opinions than him. And there's a lot of things that I don't like. He's very pro company. He's usually advocating for the company. Anti-consumer is another way of putting it. Not in really an aggressive, cruel way. Like, he's not big business is good and all this shit, but He tries to see things from their perspective and give them the benefit of the doubt, whereas typically people are much more willing to assume the worst when it comes to any business, which I understand. I get that. But he's usually the guy who's kind of going the other way, saying, well, you know, they're probably not doing this for purely malicious reasons. It's probably not that simple. Which is, you know, maybe he's not anti-consumer, maybe he's not pro-business, he's just a realist. And that's fine. And that's actually a much more flattering way of putting it for him, I think, but generally people don't see it that way. But I generally don't agree with him. I am much more willing to see businesses as assholes. I guess I'm more normal or more unwilling to be... I don't know what the word would be. More willing to fall into the same trap that other people do a lot of the time, of just blaming the business instead of thinking about it more critically than that. But, you know, Comcast is a big example. I don't think, and just to be clear, I have no reason to believe NL defends Comcast or anything like that, but I fucking hate Comcast. I think they're a horrible company, and I think as soon as net neutrality is off the table, they're gonna fuck the whole country. Or, not the whole country, but they're gonna fuck every new media. Basically, like, it could very easily become a situation, I mean, let's make this about YouTube, because we are on YouTube here. I could see a situation where a particular channel might pay for their videos to not cost mobile data. You know, PewDiePie starts paying so that his videos can be viewed without spending mobile data. Sorry, I gotta cough real quick. It's a pretty big competitive advantage. I probably don't think that'll happen, because within an app that's much more difficult, but if Google went along with it, which fingers crossed they won't do, probably wouldn't happen. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like, there's a lot of situations where one streaming solution, for example, Netflix, Hulu, whatever you might have, would get a major competitive advantage over any other one simply because they paid off Comcast. And that puts Comcast in a position to extort anyone, pretty much. If you're serving data over the internet and you want mobile users to use your service, Comcast is going to have their hand in your pocket. And then, you know, I'm not trying to single out Comcast as Time Warner, but, you know, anyway, kind of went on a tangent there, and we're kind of at the end of the video here. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will join us for the next one as well. Got through that video without coughing too many times, so I'm probably going to get a Raya's Children video as well to go up today, so look forward to that. And I will try out some of the things that I discussed in this video, trying to be a better content creator, or whatever the hell we are these days. Better commentator, I guess, is my way of putting it. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time. Take care.